everybody out there in YouTube land. Jake of the OneManBand is back again, and welcome to a Q&A. It is a Q&A session of me and you with questions that you left me on Facebook. This is the worst intro ever. So a few days ago I posted on Facebook Team Theory that I was indeed still alive and that I was working on some Ruby videos. And I also said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a Q&A, so send me some questions. And then I also put out another post just earlier today saying, hey, if you have any more questions, let me know. So now we're gonna take a look at some of these questions and I'm gonna answer some of them. Let's get started. What do you think Cinder's relation to Salem is? Well, they're definitely working together. I think it's a relationship where Cinder came to Salem for help because Cinder wanted to be strong, she wanted to be feared, she wanted to be all these things, and the road that she was currently on wasn't getting her those things. And so Salem sort of offered her this second approach to things that Cinder was like, oh yes, I like this. Do I think there's any form of blood relation? No, not at all. I don't think that at all. I just think that they're two people that kind of met each other and are now trying to achieve their goals with each other. But Salem is definitely of higher up on the pyramid than Cinder. Are you going to at least one react vid? So am I at least going to do one reaction vid? That vid be a reaction to the first episode of Ruby Volume 4. You see, I'm not that good at reactions. That's more Murder of Birds territory. He's better at them than me. But I'm not saying no. But I'm not saying yes. We'll wait and see what happens. If you were in the Ruby universe, what would your weapon and semblance be? I've thought about this a lot, and I honestly think I would want the weapon and the semblance of my OC character, Sergei Nagant. He has a shepherd staff that turns into an anti-tank sniper rifle, and his semblance is the ability to cloak himself. That's kind of what I would want, I think. You know, I may change my answer to that question within a few months, but that right now is my answer. What are your predictions for Yang in Volume 4? What do you think is going to happen to her? Okay, Yang in Volume 4 is going to be... What is going to happen with her in Volume 4, I believe, is that she is going to be going through a journey of rediscovering herself. At the end of Volume 3, she was pretty much destroyed after everything that happened to her. The loss of the school, the loss of her friend, the betrayal of her friend, the loss of her arm. It just kind of broke her. And Volume 4 is probably going to be her trying to build herself back up to the point where she's going to be able to fight again. And yes, I am a believer in the robotic arm theory, not the like aura arm or anything like that. Robotic arm all the way. If you could create a new Grimm, what would it be? Platypus. Platypus Grimm. Because if they make a plushie out of it, I would buy it. A theory on who the other maidens are? No idea. Absolutely none. Because we have no information to build a theory off of. And I do not make theories unless I have some form of basis to build them on. The only thing I can suggest is that there's one maiden maybe per kingdom. That way not one kingdom has all the power. It's kind of distributed. Do you believe that there are other beings with magic or special abilities like the maidens or the silver-eyed warriors? If so, what are your theories? Well, to answer this question truthfully, I kind of have to go back because the seasonal maidens were not thought up, were not implemented into the story, like, until Volume 3. It was during the planning of Volume 3 that they were created, but I think the Silver-Eyed Warriors were kind of always gonna be a thing. And now that we have two ultra-powerful people with magic or special abilities like that, I think if we kept piling things on, it would be really cluttered in the actual mythos. So I honestly don't think there's gonna be any more like groups of people that have special abilities or magical abilities, and if there is, it's going to have to be implemented very carefully for it to actually be good. I was kind of wondering if you ever thought of the counterparts of the four maidens. For example, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because I've got a feeling that it may somehow be connected to Salem. Also, that maybe Jean's great-great-grandfather was also one of the horsemen, since his sword, and I may be butchering this name, Crocia Mors, in English means yellow death. Now, since once again the seasonal maidens weren't thought up until Volume 3, I don't think that they really have a counterpart. But the thing is, Salem obviously has powerful people in her ranks, Cinder being one of them. But you see, the existence of Cinder kind of negates the reason to have four horsemen of the apocalypse, because Cinder herself stole a maiden's power, and now is gonna use the maiden's power to further Salem and Cinder's goals. Now, the four horsemen of the apocalypse may be some form of like champions that the bad guys have, but I don't think they're gonna have any form of power close to the seasonal maidens. And on the whole premise of Jean's great-great-grandfather's sword, like it's what it means in English, I'm not exactly sure how it ties in, what it means, but there has to be something there, right? I mean, maybe further on as the series goes, we'll be able to kind of calculate what it might mean. How canon is Ruby Chibi? Not. Okay, the thing with Ruby Chibi is that it is solely meant to be a spoof clip show. Ruby Chibi is Rooster Teeth's version pretty much of SNL, I think. We take these characters that we like and we just put them in silly situations. That does kind of make sense in the grand scheme of the show, and pretty much this is where we put all the jokes that we can't fit into the show or just aren't proper in the show anymore. That's Ruby Chibi. It's meant to be a funny show. Think of it as its own separate dimension timeline to the canon Ruby. That's my opinion on that. What do you think of the Sun equals White Fang agent theory? Well, I had not heard that theory, so that one has slipped under my radar. But, although I haven't looked at it and read up on it, I'll give my opinions of it that I have just by looking at it right now. Sun being a White Fang agent, at least in my opinion, doesn't make sense. I mean, he's already talked about how he doesn't believe in their beliefs. He doesn't see eye to eye with them. I mean, it could obviously just be some deep cover stuff that he's doing. But he's gone to the Huntsman Academies, he's done all this stuff, and he hasn't shown one sign of being a White Fang sympathizer. I don't see Sun as being the twisting sort of person. Funny, goofy, joking like that. But not scheming, not conniving, not like that. He's too open with his emotions. He's just too open with himself and with other people. I don't think he would make a good spy, is what I'm saying. Do you think Team Stark is based off House of Stark from Game of Thrones? I would not know. I know nothing of Game of Thrones. And I know everybody's gonna be blowing up the comments with, how can you not know Game of Thrones? Well, there's a lot of books, and they're really long, and the reason I don't watch the show is because I don't want to see dragon sex and nudity every 5 freaking seconds. Tacos or pizza? This guy, he's asking the real questions. He's asking the real questions. But I would have to, of course, go with tacos. My family is champions at making tacos. What made you start watching RWBY? Oh, this question. I've been actually waiting for this question for a long time, but there is a story behind why I started watching RWBY. First off, it all started back with RWBY Season 10, the finale. I had been a fan of Red vs. Blue for about 5, maybe 6 years, and I loved, like, every single episode. I found it amazing, and with the end of Season 10, it did kind of feel like a true ending, but I know that it wasn't a true ending. And so, because it had like those awesome credits afterwards that were like fully animated, and it was going to the song, "Now that we've just begun," you know, it's like that awesome song. I was just like, yeah, I'm rocking out to this, and I was like, man, this is so awesome. I'm loving these credits. Oh, what is this? Why does it say there's like 5 minutes left? Is there something after the credits? And so I was really excited. So I waited till after the credits, and that's when the first look of the red trailer dawned on the internet. And once I saw this, I was like, oh my God, that was so awesome. What is it? And I was just kind of taken aback by it. And it did also help that it was around that time that I made up in my mind that I was gonna try to get into anime, because I had not really watched any anime up until that point. You know, some Dragon Ball Z here, some Zoids when I was a kid, but nothing real concrete. So, upon seeing this trailer, I was like, well, this is kinda like anime, and it's being made by Rooster Teeth, who've made Red vs. Blue. I'll watch it. So that's what really got me into RWBY. But what truly got me into like being, you know, so in depth with RWBY is that pretty much I noticed some things about the red trailer, and I was like, you know, I wonder if anybody else have noticed these things. And then the white trailer came out, and I was like, well, I wonder if anybody notices these things about the white trailer. And so that's when I first started to make analytical videos, because I was like, you know what? I noticed some things. I'm gonna tell the world that I noticed some things. And that's how I got into RWBY. And the rest is history. Have you heard of Overwatch? Who hasn't heard of Overwatch, dude? Overwatch is fun. I play as McCree, because McCree is awesome. Favorite achievement hunter, even though I think I know. Oh, favorite achievement hunter. It would definitely have to be... Honestly, I think it would have to be a toss-up between Ryan and Jeff. I mean, Jeff was the original achievement hunter. It was him and JAC, and then, like, Gavin came in. So, and Jeff was also one of the, you know, founders of Rooster Teeth. So, I always like Jeff and his sense of humor, and he's funny. I really like Jeff, but... Ryan was kind of the new guy that came in, and to be honest, at first I didn't really like Ryan, but the more he stuck around, the more I started to like him, especially when he totally donned on the Mad King persona. So, it would, between those two, I would probably have to go with Ryan, but I like both of them because, like, they're both funny, they're both awesome, and they're kind of both dads, which is something I really respect. Because, you know, it's something that I wish to be one day. Which villain do you want to learn the most about? That's tough. I mean, I have my personal interests, but then again, I also have my interests to the story. Who would I want to know about the most, villain-wise? I think I would have to go with Salem, because she's the one that's been brought in, we know her the least amount, and I just want to know at least a little bit about her right now. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more of Salem in Volume 4. What your view of Pokemon Sun and Moon? I haven't been up to date with Pokemon in a very long time. I mean, they look interesting, but at the end of the day, the Pokemon games, to me, my opinion, remember, it's kind of the same thing over and over. You know, you start off with one Pokemon, gotta catch them all, gotta beat all the gyms, gotta beat the Fantastic Four or whatever, and, you know, it just kind of seems like the same thing. The last real Pokemon game that I actually sat down and played, like, of the original, you know, the linear set, was Gold. That is my favorite, because it's like a direct sequel. It still had a good amount of Pokemon, every single Pokemon was awesome, and it had an amazing ending. With Sun and Moon, I don't really have any opinion on it. What's the video you are going to do with Murder of Birds? Well, we actually have to get back to talking together, because once RTX was over, we kind of just went our separate ways again. We had to get back into our daily lives. But I definitely still want to do a video with the guy, because he's awesome. And it would probably be something like this, like a Q&A. We did, like, talk about it a little bit at RTX, but we'd probably have to just open up conversation again. Yeah, I mean, I'll open up conversation again, we'll try to figure something out, and we'll keep you guys informed of when it's going to come. What do you think Summer Rose's weapon was, and how Team Stark interacted with each other? Summer Rose's weapon. I almost want to think that it was something small. Something that wasn't extraordinary. Because if it's something extraordinary, then it would probably take away from the awesomeness that Crescent Rose is. And how Team Stark interacted with each other, I think that they were all very close, due to the fact that 2 of them were siblings and 3 of them were lovers. Maybe even 4 of them. But that's a story for another day. So I think that they were all really close, but once Raven went her separate way, maybe they kind of drifted apart but still remained good friends. And then once Summer died, Tai Yang and Crow kind of like huddled together because they were kind of the last of Team Stark. But it's obvious that Tai Yang and Crow have some form of beef with one another. Hopefully that gets expanded upon in the next volume, but I think when they were a team, they were very, very close, maybe even closer than Team Ruby itself. What fight do you want to see most in Volume 4? To be honest, Volume 3 had a lot of fights. I'm kind of fighted out. I mean, once Volume 4 starts back up, I'm sure I'll get back into like, oh, there's another fight, I'm so excited! I'm sure I'll get back into being like that, but right now, I just kind of want story. Can I just have some more story? Maybe some background? Maybe a world of Remnant that kind of explains the Faunus? I want story, I want dialogue, I want the journey to continue. And the thing is, it's like we've had so many fights in Volume 3 that I think Volume 4 is gonna take a step back from the whole fighting thing. There's going to be fights, don't you worry. Half of Ruby is the fights, but the other half is the dialogue and the characters and the world building. There's gonna be fights, and to be honest, I'm not really looking forward to any kind of fight. I'm just really looking forward to there being a story again. Ruby Chibi has kind of really been getting on my nerves. There's no story for me to analyze! As a follow-on to your OC rant, which I agree with, by the way, What do you think makes a good OC? And any tips you have for people struggling to come up with the O part, the original part? Well, see, I'm no expert on making OCs. I know that there are plenty of people out there that have been doing it way longer than me, have made a lot more OCs than me, although I don't really agree with that. But in my opinion, what makes a good OC? You need to start with, why do I want to make this character? What purpose do they serve? Is it just so you can make an OC? Is it just because you have an idea of a character that you would like to see come to life? Or do you really want to try to contribute your best to a series, to a universe that you love? Now, when I made my OCs, it was pretty much like, oh, well, everyone's kind of making, OCs. I mean, I might as well throw my hat in. So, it started off with that, and it took me a long time to come up with Team Jester, because the thing is, I wanted to start off, and I know that everyone's builds their OCs differently, but I started with inspiration. What do I want them to be inspired by? What are they based off of? Who are they based off of? And pretty much I took people from stories and from history that I respected and that I liked. And I was like, okay, I have my 4. Now, how do I build off of that so that they fit into this universe? The thing is, the whole putting the O part in OC, you need to actually sit down, look at your OC, and think, how can I make you the best? And then, after you've achieved the best, how do I make you better? You just have to put dedication and time into your OCs. Don't just make them a cardboard cutout or a idea. Don't make them a stereotype is what I mean. Make them a character, not a stereotype. What are you watching to hold you over till Volume 4 consumes your life? Some anime, old Godzilla movies, lots and lots of YouTube. Is this a reference to that My Little Pony Equestria Girls song? Fan-made song? If it is, good on you, sir. Yes!
It's raining tacos, yum, 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 yummity, yum. It's like a dream.
If Ruby was suddenly canceled or put on hold for another year, how would you feel? Well, first of all, Ruby will not be canceled. Rooster Teeth is one of those companies where as long as people will watch it, they will make it. Because they love their audience like that. The only way Ruby would be canceled is if Rooster Teeth was wiped off the face of the earth. And I knocked on wood right there. Don't worry, RT, you are safe. But put on hold for another year, how would I feel? I would be disappointed. And I would be really scared knowing that I would have to fill another year's worth of void with with just theories and random videos that I do. I think I'd be nervous about that, but if they were putting it on hold for another year to make it better and to make it longer, I could live with it. I'd be alright. I would just probably cry for a little bit is all. What's your favorite food? And what's your favorite movie? Oh, my dear Hope. My dear Hope. Asking my favorite food and my favorite movie is like asking which one of my favorite children is my favorite. My future children, I mean. Which one of my future children is my favorite? It's very hard. Now, you see, with food, that's an entirely different story. Movie, you see, with movies, I have to have it in a top 10 of what my favorite movies are. And that's always constantly shifting, depending on my mood, depending on what I've currently watched. And I actually don't really know what my favorite all-time movie is. But to name a few of my favorite movies: Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Prince of Egypt, Gojira, the first Godzilla movie, The Dark Knight, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. There's a few of some of my favorite movies. Least favorite main character in RWBY, not including the villains. Oh, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. Right now, it's Blake. Blake is my least favorite main character in RWBY. And I have my reasons why I do not like her character right now. I was hoping to do an entirely separate video on it, but pretty much the gist of it, of why I don't like her, is the last 3 volumes, she was pretty much the main character the entire time. She had the most character development. She had all this stuff put on her shoulders just for it all to collapse at the end of Volume 3. And all the progress that she made was thrown out the window. And I just couldn't take it. Because it's one thing for a character to grow. It's good. But it's bad when a character grows and then kills itself to the point where they're back at square one. I don't like it. What kind of software / hardware do you use to make your videos? Well, what I use to make my videos, what I use to record my face, is just a simple video camera. It's a few years old. I mean, you can pretty much pick up any video camera at a video store, Best Buy, anything like that. You can use like a webcam if you want, but pretty much I record my face with the video camera and then I transfer it onto my computer, and then I use Sony Vegas to edit my videos together. And it's in Sony Vegas that I can add all the different layers and the backgrounds and the texts, the music and the sound effects, my voice. That's what I use to put all my videos together. It's kind of a long, difficult process that I kind of had to teach myself how to do. But that's pretty much what kind of software and hardware I use. Well, by hardware, I mean, you could pretty much get by with like doing it on a laptop. I did for a very long time, but I then got the big, awesome amazingness that is my PC because my laptop was dying. So you can pretty much do it with whatever as long as you have a camera and a movie making software. And you can get like some free ones that I know are not as extensive as Vegas, but still work. Shipping questions. Would you support Bumblebee actually being together and an actual thing by the time RWBY series ends? Bumblebee is not canon. Bumblebee is not canon. And what has been shown in the show makes it seem that it will never be canon. Because Blake is attracted to guys. Yang is attracted to guys. I know that sometimes people's sexuality decides to change in traumatic situations and as they go out through life. But as it shows right now, Bumblebee cannot be a thing. And no. Stop it. No. We all know it's funny. We all know the Bumblebee jokes. And I know of all the nods that the RWBY staff has made to the ship. But that's because they think it's funny. They think it's good that the community is engaging all like this. You know, they're engaging, making, shippings, it's funny, all that stuff. But canonity-wise, it cannot be. And I will hold this true until the day I die. So, would I be okay with it actually turning into a thing by the end of RWBY? They would have to change major things in the show for it to happen. And if that did end up happening, well, I would then have to accept it whether I liked it or not, then now wouldn't I? Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? And what about a RWBY campaign? Or camping? I think you meant campaign. I mean, that's what I got out of it, but camping? Is that like Camp but with RWBY characters? That would be a cool crossover I'd like to see. But have I ever played Dungeons and Dragons? No, but I want to desperately. And you see, I'm not just that kind of person that would go to the local D&D gathering on the weekend because it's like, I don't know these people. I can't be myself around these people. They're, I don't know them. If it was with people that I knew, then I'd be totally for it. It's like, let's sit down for 6 friggin' hours and play some D&D. Let's freaking do it. You see, like, I would like to play D&D because I think it's cool and I think it's fun. I'm actually kind of trying to learn how to do D&D so I can kind of make my own form of it right now. It's a slow process, and I know all you people think I'm crazy. But I've made a couple big leaps in recent weeks, and as for a RWBY campaign, you would have to transfer a RWBY version of D&D into being able to work in order for it to work. If someone out there has made a Dungeons and Dragons RWBY D&D campaign, good on you. Good freaking job. Market that shit. And I would like to see it, please. What do you think will happen to Jean in the time skip? Do you think he will become of a fighter? You mean more of a fighter or a better fighter? In that he isn't as Jean as before. Now, what do you mean by he isn't as Jean anymore? You're asking him to change who he is? You see, this is one of the big reasons why I like Jean, is because even though he isn't as skilled and as good as all the other people he goes to school with, he still, keeps up with them. He is still decent as a fighter, he's a quick learner, and he has drive. He is driven to do what he does. I think he's going to take on more of a serious look on things now that Pyrrha's gone and all this stuff. And how Jean is going to be in Volume 4 is meant for a whole separate video itself. But I don't want Jean to not be Jean anymore. Because that's why we like Jean. I guess I have 2 questions. Well, that's okay. I'll give you 2. 1. What do you do for fun? 1. What did you do for fun before you started doing YouTube videos? Lots and lots of video games. Lots and lots of video games. Like, I would pretty much just play video games all day, pretty much. I would paintball every once in a while, but mostly video games. 2. Out of your personal RWBY original team, which character is your favorite and why? Once again, it's like trying to ask what my favorite future child is gonna be. But I think the one that I've kind of identified the most with and have put the most love into is probably Sergei Nagant, because I like the sniper. I like a good sniper, and I also like the idea of a shepherd. A shepherd is someone who protects their flock, and that's kind of like what he is. He's been through all this stuff, and he wants to protect his team because they are his flock now. He's like the sniper and the big brother character and the sort of like the guy who likes to be alone and sit and read and observe things, which is kind of all a bit like me. The thing is, every single person, each character in my OC team is pretty much a little bit of me put into those characters. I pretty much took some of myself and put myself into those characters. But Sergei Nagant would probably be my favorite. Do you like Deadpool? If so, would you be happy with Deadpool being in Suicide Squad instead of the Joker? You have no idea how just wrong this question is. Deadpool and Suicide Squad aren't even the same universe. It's DC and Marvel. They're completely different. So no, I'm not okay with that. No. I would not be okay with that. Do I like Deadpool? Yeah, he's okay. Do you regret any of your theories? Was there ever one that was proven wrong and made you say, what was I thinking? Well, there have been some that have been proven wrong. There's especially one that sticks out in my mind where I made a theory about Jean's father being dead, but it was kind of proved wrong when Jean is talking to Pyrrha in Volume 3 and he talks about how his mom and dad were totally expecting him to move back in after he went to Beacon. So that pretty much showed that his father was still alive. But I didn't sit there and think, what was I thinking? I haven't regretted any theories that I've made. Because to regret a theory that I made is to regret me trying to dig deeper into Ruby to figure things out. That's the reason why I analyze, why I theorize, is to try to figure things out. And if I'm proven wrong, then hey, I'm proven wrong. And I can use what I've learned to help make more theories and make more analysis. That's even closer to the truth than what it was before. So I haven't regretted any of my theories yet. I haven't regretted any of my theories yet. Will you go to Anime Milwaukee next year? Oh man, you paying? If you're paying, I'm coming. But Milwaukee's quite a bit ways away and I'm not made of cash, so probably not. Could you talk about my Volume 4 bingo thing, please? Well, I'm talking about it right now. So, apparently this right here is a bingo card that you fill certain things that are going to happen in Volume 4, and I guess when you get 5 in a row, you get bingo? But, I've seen a lot of these on the Team Theory page, and the guy who always puts them up, you know, he's awesome, he's cool, he does all this stuff. But I'm just not really all that into it. I'm not really into trying to make it a game. I just kind of want to watch and enjoy the show and analyze it. I don't want to also keep track of if I'm winning at Ruby Bingo. That's all for you guys to do. You guys play Ruby Bingo, I make the videos. It's a good relationship. What is the crackiest crackpot Ruby theory you've seen or heard? Dude, you don't even know the half of it. As in, half of it have been the craziest crackpot Ruby theories that I've seen or heard. I have seen and I have heard a lot of them, sir. But the one that continues to stick out in my mind was a theory about Roman and Nora being related because they had similar colored hair. And that was it. That was the only reason behind it. That one has stuck with me all this time. When is your birthday? Day, month, and year, please. July 15th. And I was born in 1994. I'm not all that old. Okay, $1 million. But every time you sneezed, your hat, any that you were wearing, and your pockets are suddenly filled with ketchup, mayo, mustard, and why the hell not, soy sauce. Would you do it? Absolutely not, because I sneeze way too dang much for my own good, and I don't want to constantly be shoveling that stuff out of my pockets. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Not for $1 million. Would you please react to all the upcoming Rooster Teeth's $1 million butt videos? Please? Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you really want to see me react to those videos? It's entirely up to you. I leave it in your hands. Leave a yay or nay in the comments below. Do you have any pets? And if not, do you plan on getting some? I myself do not own any pets. There are family pets, 2 dogs and a cat, but I myself do not have any form of pet responsibilities at the moment. And do I plan on getting some? I would like to get a corgi at some point in my life, because corgis are awesome. And before you ask, no, I will not name its why. Anything you dislike about RWBY and or its fandom? I'm gonna make some enemies. You guys already know that I don't really like. Well, it's not that I not like them. It's that I have different feelings about the OC part of the fandom. Definitely the shipping part of the fandom. I got some beef with them. But RWBY itself, the only thing I really dislike about it is that, you know, it could be polished a little bit more. It could be, you know, there could be a little bit more story. It could come out more often. But for the most part, I'm satisfied with what I have. I believe in don't bite the hand that feeds you. And that can't be any more true than with RWBY. Because if we bite the hand of Rooster Teeth, they don't have to feed us RWBY, and it would be sad if they didn't. I sure hope all you people don't hate me now. Hey everybody! Hey, we have gotten to the end of the Q&A! Isn't it amazing? You know what? It felt really, really good to do this Q&A. I just, you know, it felt like old times. It felt like back when I was doing the feedback videos, but the feedback videos just got so big. You know, so many comments. You know, maybe I'll just keep it to where it's like this, where I put out a post on Team Theory and I let you guys, you know, ask questions and then I'll go through them. You know, this is going to be a monthly thing. I'm going to try to make it a monthly thing where it's a Q&A between you and me, and we're going to have fun. So, I hope that you enjoyed. Be sure to like and favorite if you did. Subscribe if you feel inclined to. I mean, if you haven't checked out the Team Theory RWBY page on Facebook, check it out now. Say you want to sign up. I'll let you in, don't you worry. I also have a Twitter account that I barely use, and a Patreon account if you guys want to support me monetarily that way. Big thanks to the Patreon, my Patreon people. They're gonna be up on screen right now. Give them love. Sing your praises to them because they help me out a lot. And to everyone else out there, I want you to be a good person, tip your waitresses, keep moving forward. I'll see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. Remember, leave comments down below on what you guys think about this whole Q&A thing, and I'll see you next time. Stay awesome. Yeah!